Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to talk about the tip baiting that I've seen on Walmart Spark. I joined Walmart Spark on April 11th, 2022. I did my first delivery that day. At the time of this recording, it is now June 2nd, 2022. So I've been doing Spark for close to a month and a half now, and I have done over 100 deliveries at this point, many multi-batches, many stores. And so what I'm doing here is bringing up the screen where you can look at your past trips. You click on the completed section of the trips area, and you can scroll down and look at all of the various trips you've ever completed on Spark. And so what I'm showing here is one of the trips I completed on April 11th, where it was a double stack for 2.6 miles, and the expected payout was $20.69 with $11 of tips. Now I'm going to the estimated earnings tab and going down to where I can see, did I ever receive that tip? Now on Spark, tips come in 24 hours later, so you have to scroll down and look for it. I never saw the tip come in for that particular day. So here's another example from April 15th, where I should have gotten a $7 worth of tips on a double stack, and I never got anything. And here's another example where I got a partial tip. And you can see like your trip number at the top of the screen. You can see that in your completed trips and your earnings, and so you can look and see where the discrepancy is, right? So here's one where trip number 130, where I should have got $10 worth of tips, and this was April 19th, and it never came through. Another example where trip number 215, tips should have been $17, double stack, never got anything. So that leads me to believe it's two customers who didn't, that didn't tip. Here's another example from May 10th, $11, not anything came through. Here's a partial one where $10 was the expected tip rate and only $3 was given. So what happened to the other $7? Another example where the expected tip was $17 and we got 10. So $7 was pulled away. For 153, $11 was the expected tip and only 4 was received. So $7 again was not paid out. So it's just very strange that I'm seeing so many instances of where a tip was given, and it's at least once a week. At least once a week that I see this. If I add up the amount over the past 4.5 something weeks, 5 weeks that I've been doing Spark, it breaks down to a little over $70. And it happened on the last delivery I did a week ago. So it's not something that's doesn't happen that frequent to me. I know I've seen other people describe in their market they don't see it as often, but it seems in my market, and it isn't just one store. Right? If I could tie it to, well, maybe it's just one store in a bad area and people are pulling this stunt all the time. It's not. In my market, I have probably 15 Walmarts within a 10 to 12 mile radius, and the 6 or 7 that I frequent, it's happened at least one time at each of those stores. So the one thing I can say is there's no transparency from the Spark app to show you what is the reason why it's being taken away. Right, my rating is still up at a 4.96, I believe, and my on-time delivery is 100%. So I have no indication as to why it was taken away. Again, all I'm doing is picking up the items from Walmart and carrying them to the customer's door, making sure that I'm not dropping things, making sure that all the items given to me were placed at the door. I think one of the things that happens is we as the drivers are being rated on if the in-store shopper forgot to put items in, right? If there were things missing, we as a driver are going to get rated for that. But is it that bad that tips like I'm seeing would be pulled away so frequently? Just food for thought. It's made me sour on Spark. I know Spark is the hot app right now. I still do it, but I tend to now, when I do it, it'll be when they have incentives, or it'll be when I take an order, I'm making sure that I'm not going to count on the tip, which makes it hard to take orders because a lot of these, you saw the examples I showed, they were double stack. There were 2 orders paying $10 from Spark, right? Those don't make sense to me to take a 2 order for $10 and 10 or 15 bags each and deliver to the customer's door. those orders don't make sense for me to take in my market. I can do other apps and make that same amount of money. So just something to look at. Appreciate if anybody would put in the comments, are you seeing this same kind of thing in your market? How often are you tip baited in your market? And has anybody contacted Spark support to ask them, hey, what can you guys do about this? I've not yet, only because I'm worried they'd retaliate. They just deactivate your account if you were to bring it up to them. And it's not big enough income for me now at this point that it's worth it. I've just adapted, right? Like we do in this gig economy. I just adapted and I've done a lot less Spark and transitioned to other apps where I can make sure I'm getting paid what I'm told. Um, Across all the gig apps, at least in my experience, Spark has been the worst from a tip baiting, what I would call a tip baiting perspective. They allow the customer 24 hours to remove the tip, and they allow them to remove it and not give a clear reason as to why they're removing it. So it doesn't make any sense how that would happen. Uber is one that Uber Eats I do all the time is one that would give you a customer up to an hour to change the tip, right? And I think I've only been tip baited maybe once or twice in the 2 years I've done that platform. Whereas in Spark, you can see that from examples I've shown, it's a weekly occurrence, sometimes twice a week. Up to the first week that I started doing Spark, I was tip baited 3 times in 1 week. So it's just ludicrous that the company would allow that to happen. Something that Spark's got to look at changing for their drivers. I've seen a couple other YouTube videos out there where people are describing it. I've just not seen any clear-cut evidence like I'm showing in this case. So appreciate anybody who's watching. We'll catch you in the next video.